Awesome. Like those guys. What's up, dudes? What's your names?
John.
John? I love you, John. What's your name? What?
Joel.
Joel? Wow. You guys have like a theme going on. What's your name?
Better start with J.
Yeah.
Why?
Tight! Welcome. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll. All right, I'm gonna get out of this mode because, well, we're not in full screen mode. I just really wanted you guys to see that it was Windows 3.11. I didn't want you just to think it was just a low rent looking slideshow. I wanted you to know that it really was Win 3.11. This is Linux Sucks in Space. This is the 10th year I've done this. So 10 years ago I did a first Linux Sucks where I basically ranted about all the things about Linux that sucks, right? It's kind of a cathartic vent session and an opportunity for me to yell at as many developers as I could all at the same time. I've done this now, I don't know how many times. Yes, I do, but I forgot. And I thought let's do it a little different this year. One, since every big series has to eventually evolve into space, Leprechaun in space, etc., I thought this will be Linux Sucks in Space. This doesn't actually have much of anything to do with space. It is just the theme here. So we're going to get into it. These are the things that I think are the biggest problem with Linux and the Linux ecosystem in 2019. If you disagree with me, you're wrong. The first thing, and I talked about this in an earlier show I did today, is that basically every piece of software, every Linux distribution on the planet is requiring an internet connection right now. Raise your hands if you think the internet is cool. All of you. The internet's rad, right? Now raise your hand if you think everything we do should always be connected to the internet at all times. Like 3 people are like mockingly raising their hands. See, no one wants that. And yet every piece of software goes down that line. Every single one. Desktop environments, update systems for Linux distributions, even some okay, I was about to say web browsers, but that's a bad example. It's non-stop, and it is a problem because the internet is fragile, and it eventually will either A, go away, or B, change just enough to break the things that we were relying on it for. It's a problem. I don't think I really need to expound upon that further. It just drives me crazy, and please, developers who are doing that, stop doing that. This I put in here for one reason only. Since this is Linux Sucks in Space, low latency requirements are going to be a problem in space. I seriously just put this in there for that. If we're on a trip to Mars or the outer rings of Jupiter and we're expecting to get, sub 30 millisecond ping times, our system is not going to function properly. That is just how that is going to work. And before I go any further, I would like to make a shout out to my 2 kids. Josie and Solomon are hanging out with us today. Everyone, for my kids! We just had our 3rd child. 3rd kid is 3 weeks old and at home with mama, so the big kids are hanging out with daddy. This is my boy's first time at a conference, and he thinks it's boring. But I love you, dude. My kids are awesome.
You're the Pokemon. You gotta be good.
I've mentioned this before, and I know this is a bit of a side note, but we're at a tech conference right now, and have you guys noticed all the families around? Are there any other families with kids in here right now? Like, your kids are here today?
Yeah, she's right down here.
Right there. How old's your kid?
She's 2.
Awesome. That is the coolest thing.
She's actually been to 3 Linux Fests.
This is her. I'm doing the math on this one. She's a 2-year-old that's been to her 3rd Linux Fest. That's rad. This is the most amazing thing. It's like computer fairs of old. We actually get to have our family. More kids back there. Welcome.
Here, I have no idea.
Yeah. They brought their dad. That's fantastic. This is fantastic. This is what computer shows should be like. This is what they used to be like. And does any people go to other Linux conventions or tech conventions besides this one?
First one.
They are stuffy and grown up, and people dress a little too nice, and there's no kids running around, but not here. Linux Fest is rad. Anyway, Buzzworks. In there. But this is so the Linux community is tearing itself apart right now. It has been for about the last year. And everyone kind of knows what I'm talking about, right?
System D.
No, I'm not talking about System D. Though I have plenty I can say negatively about System D. Though I kind of did that in the previous show. But what I'm talking about is more of the societal cultural impacts. You know, we saw where, you know, Linus stepped down for about a month and kind of went on hiatus because he was using a lot of naughty language and being kind of abrasive, and he said he wanted to step back. And a lot of other people within the community kind of started attacking other core Linux developers for also using potentially inappropriate language, having some ideas that others didn't agree with politically and the like. And I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into what is or isn't okay to say on a mailing list. But over the last year, there's been a lot of people hitting each other, metaphorically, for just being different than the other people in the room or on the mailing list. And it's been happening increasingly to the point where we're seeing people aren't necessarily leaving the Linux community, but they're making sure that they're not involved in certain aspects of it. And that to me is really a big bummer, especially when we're at a time when we're trying to make sure everyone feels welcome and comfortable. And my son is having fun on his tablet. And we're trying to have a good time. But then by trying to make some people feel comfortable, we end up making other people feel scared, or other people feel ashamed, or other people feel threatened. And I'm not going to name any names, though I would love to. I'm not going to point out any specific ideologies, because to me it really doesn't matter. But I wish that the people who spend the time attacking others within the Linux community would stop and talk to each other and give each other hugs and buy each other cheeseburgers and just hang out a little bit at festivals like this. And maybe if we got to know each other a little better personally, that wouldn't happen so much. I know this is that conceptually everyone here agrees. We all want to be cool to each other. We all want to be excellent to each other. And I think even the people who have been the most attacking of other people within our community want to do good, right? They want to make the world a better place. They want to make the Linux community a better, more happy, friendly, prancing in the fields sort of place, and I'm with them on that. But please stop attacking people. I'm just going to look into the camera right now, the specific people I'm thinking about, and you know exactly who I'm thinking about. So, I would like to put that out there. Now, those are the things I'm concerned about. You'll notice things were not on that list. Wi-Fi drivers were not on that list. The availability of video games were not on that list, because those things are working great now. And even GPU drivers are working pretty good, some exceptions. But things are working pretty great in the Linux world lately, in my opinion. But I want to hear from all of you. What sucks right now? What's going terribly, terribly wrong? What's the thing that's going to cause us to crash and burn and nuclear mushroom crowd? What's the thing? I want to hear from you guys. Your hand is up and you are awesome. Wait, first of all, what's your name?
Zane.
What was your name?
Zane.
Zane, how old are you, Zane?
11.
Zane is 11. What is the most sucky thing about Linux right now, 11-year-old Zane? This has been Linux Sucks.
Is people changing things without studies or thinking about it very much, like, you know, GNOME 2,
do you really
they hired
want
usability engineers and did usability studies.
Do you
GNOME
really
3,
want studies and like focus groups to determine how our operating systems look and feel, though?
Yes. I would rather have that than have one guy just say, you know, you don't need a minimize
What if
button.
that one guy's
I thought
you?
about it, you really don't need it.
What if
It's
that
fine."
one guy's you? What if that one guy is you? What if the one guy who can make the UI design decisions are you for GNOME? Would it be awesome? I bet it would. I think it would be rad. But no, I am with you. I agree completely. Yes. Blue and then red.
Blue and then red. What's this orange, not red? I just... Whatever.
Wait,
You're red, shut up.
do I know you?
Yeah, I was the guy who worked for Microsoft last year.
Do you work for Microsoft still?
No, the contract ran out. I work for a medical device company now.
Congratulations. right behind you.
It's okay. Actually, because of that, I just with the studies, I just realized again what you were quoting when you had your whole Windows is awesome thing, with KDE's like most popular theme,
Oh, yeah.
which was the Windows XP.
The
theme.
Windows XP theme, yeah, it's the most
So,
popular
I
theme
don't
for
know if
KDE for
usability
years.
Studies is the best idea.
Right? People, as a general whole, prefer Windows XP over almost all interfaces. Microsoft's done a bunch of studies on this. The most popular theme for KDE has been for years Windows XP lookalike. Do you want your system looking like Windows XP?
Also, that's not
Really don't. Like, really super don't want it to be that little Fisher-Price toy. I just don't. But it's the most popular, by far. And I fear anytime a group of people get together in a meeting room or in a conference or in a lab of people to give, oh, how do you feel this looks? The results of that are always Windows XP, and it makes me scared. Yes, next question to my 3-year-old son. What's up, buddy? Good point, dude. Yes.
The UWP control settings thing, and then the old control panel when they just fart back and forth between each other to do basic jobs.
By the way, farting back and forth should be a technical term for it. Let's not bring Windows 10 into this, because I think as soon as we're comparing ourselves to or against Windows 10, we're going down a real dangerous
but
and dark
it's an
path.
example of
Yes.
like chasing minimalist looks, ability of the interface.
Let me ask you this. How many people here are using one of the older desktop environments, XFCE, Mate, and previous generation stuff? Quite a few. How many people here are just using current GNOME? How about KDE users? Okay, honestly, this is pretty mixed. This is a pretty mixed sort of thing. I mean, how many people here are still using a Unity? There's no hope for any of you.
Speaking of desktop environments, though, the
Yes.
differences between them. If I'm like a company who makes CAD software, I hate this that it's only on Windows for me. I have to use Windows for my work stuff.
Yes, Windows
But,
CAD
like, if I
software
wanted to
comes with a
make,
lot.
like Altium or
Yeah.
SolidWorks, go into Linux. If I want to capture most of that market, I have to be able to reliably handle GNOME, KDE, and all these different desktop interfaces. And it's tricky to make something where I
It's
can
very tricky.
reliably put like the start menu or whatever equivalent menu icons in the right place.
You're not wrong. Getting software to look good across different desktop environments or distros can be a real pain in the butt. Like, does anyone use Elementary? Okay, so Elementary is kind of a nice one, but Elementary, in order to have a good, cohesive user experience across the board, they kind of almost just threw out the bathwater and we're like, okay, we've got our own toolkit to develop against, our own human interface guidelines, and those applications look great on that system. But then you go over to, let's say, Fedora and GNOME, and it's like, well, kind of not quite now. And then even though those are technologically very similar things, it still doesn't look 100% quite right.
Yeah, it's only
So
one of the
right.
biggest ones that I know of that actively supports Linux is MATLAB, because it's used
Yeah,
mostly by
MATLAB, yeah.
nerds, and it only really claims to support the Debian chain.
Yeah, but here's the thing. As Linux users, like if someone came over and said, let's say AutoCAD. AutoCAD's like, we're going to release a Linux version.
Nobody
As
would buy it
Linux-
because AutoCAD sucks.
Okay. Thoughts on AutoCAD aside, does it really matter to any of us if like the toolbar icons match that of the system or the layout's quite right? I mean, I don't really care. It can use an entirely custom SDL-based UI inside of it.
Just
It's
are
fine
the
for me.
icons.
Is anyone here not running Linux? Nice. Wait a minute. You've got the horns on. Are you Windows or BSD?
Windows.
Windows.
I'm not part of any of this industry.
I like it. I like it.
All of the above.
Make a bold declaration, man. You realize you're sitting in the dead center right now.
I like it
okay.
already. He updates like every 20.
You don't
30
feel like
hours.
you need to do too much with your Slackware install.
Right.
It just
Except
works.
dependency resolution, but you can even automate that with a program.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're running Arch. You don't have to deal with this a lot.
Yeah. you get the best of both Arch and Gentoo.
The best of both Arch and Gentoo?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's not a Venn diagram with overlays.
having
Yes.
to, when you have to update, don't update. But if you do have to update, because it's software, you have to update software. If they change something in a new version.
No, wait,
it's a new version.
wait, I love that phrase.
Software sucks.
It's software. You
Software
have to
sucks.
update software. No!
That's
Software-
LTS, exactly. You
Software
don't
does not have to be
You
updated.
can still use XP in your hospital and you can get hacked.
Yes,
But it's a choice to update. If you don't, software sucks.
I'm just going to put this out there. Hold on, I'm going to hit escape so we can look at this in all of its glory for a second. Windows 3.1.1. Somebody hack it real quick. It's connected right now. It's on the internet. Somebody hack it. You've almost all got your laptops out there. Someone hack it. I dare you. Find it. It should be easy to scan. A quick NetBIOS scan and you're good to go. Remember
We have
those
Netscape
things?
on there.
I run, I kid you not, a BBS running on DOS. Find it, bbs.londuke.com, hack it, try it, I dare you. People have been trying to hack that BBS for years. I have logs of people running every known MySQL injection attack on it. No one's ever gone in. What was that?
Be arrested.
I'm not going to arrest people for trying to hack into a DOS BBS. I'm just saying, things don't have to be updated to be secure. They just simply don't. But the more complex things get, the more likelihood we have of having a higher number of surface for more attack vectors. And so then we have to add additional patches on top of it to patch the old attack vectors, which then introduce new attack vectors. Simple software doesn't have that problem. It just doesn't from an engineering standpoint. Yes, Red Shirt Man.
I also have my Linux sucks. Linux problems suck. That's it.
Linux problems suck?
Yeah.
Just in general?
Yeah.
Yes. Spider-Man.